From searching for a kind-hearted actor to step up as Clark Kent, to finally nailing the casting for the perfect Lois Lane, here's James Gunn's new Superman revealed. The DC Extended Universe is going through some major twists and turns, and let me tell you, fans have been on the edge of their seats for what feels like an eternity, wondering who's gonna step up as the new Superman. So here's the deal. The movie's called Superman Legacy, and James Gunn, the new head of DC Films, is directing it. Now check this out. Gunn had his doubts about taking on the script at first, but he decided he wasn't gonna settle for anything less than pure awesomeness, and wants this movie to be a wild mix of uniqueness, fun, and emotions. Because, hey, Supes deserves all the respect in the world. Gunn plans to make this reboot extra special, and for that, he's diving headfirst into Superman's roots, making it all about how his Kryptonian side versus his small-town Kansas upbringing shapes who he is and the choices he makes. The script has Gunn bouncing off the walls with excitement. He is madly in love with it, and he can't wait to start shooting because this ain't just some ordinary gig for him. It's a true passion project, a labor of love. But don't get it twisted, this isn't gonna be another origin story. And according to co-director Peter Safran, Superman's gonna be all about truth, justice, and the good old American way. And in a world where kindness often seems like it's gone out of style, Soup's here to remind us all that it's still cool to be kind. And guess what? That's exactly what the studio was looking for in the next Superman, because they needed someone who could bring that flawless combo of humanity and superhuman grace to the table. They were searching for a hero who's compassionate, kind-hearted, but at the same time, someone with that boyish charm, and they had some awesome contenders lined up for the role. But after a lot of hard thinking, they landed on David Corenswet. The rising star of Hollywood's ready to don that famous red cape, and though he isn't a household name yet, that's exactly why he's the perfect pick for the role, just like the previous dudes who rocked the red cape. David burst onto the scene in Ryan Murphy's series, The Politician, where he played the role of River Barkley, a young student struggling with the weight of expectations and the pressure to be Mr. Perfect. It's a tragic story, and Corenswet's got some heartfelt dialogue, proving that he's got the chops to bring Superman's inspiring story to life. David teamed up with Murphy and Netflix again in the award-winning series Hollywood, and this time he played Jack Costello, an aspiring actor clawing his way up the Hollywood ladder. It was a proper lead role, and Corenswet showed off his charisma like a boss, with many fans pointing out how charisma is a key ingredient for a kick-ass Superman, because it's all about that magnetic presence. Now, TV ain't the only place where David shines, because he's dabbled in the movie world too. In Netflix's rom-com, Look Both Ways, the actor proved he's got the charm to sweep you off your feet, especially opposite Riverdale's Lily Reinhart. And recently, he took a trip to the horror realm in director Ty West's Pearl, where Corenswet played the projectionist, and becomes the love interest of Mia Goth's serial killer character. But underneath all the excitement, fans missed ex-Superman Henry Cavill. Remember when Henry got all pumped on Instagram declaring that he's back as Superman? Turns out it was a bit of a premature celebration, because 2 months later in 2022, he had to come back and set the record straight that he won't be donning that red cape again, even though he was told to make the announcement of his return. But hey, things change, or your boss does in this case. James and Peter run things now, and they're taking Superman in a new direction, with a younger actor in the lead role, and Cavill respects that they're building a whole new universe. But don't worry, because he's not sitting around feeling sorry for himself. Henry's already got another franchise lined up, and he's set to make an appearance in Warhammer 40K with Amazon. The dude's moved on, and as much as the fans miss him, he won't be returning for the new Superman flick. But it's not like DC gave him the boot or anything, because James Gunn made it clear they simply couldn't strike a deal for him to reprise the role. So that means we could see him in a cameo or two once in a while. But it's still a shame. Cavill's Superman had so much potential to make an impact on the comic book movie scene. But here's the thing you need to understand. The studio had their reasons for not sticking with Henry, and if you take a closer look, it's all about Cavill's age. The dude's 40 years old now, and since Superman Legacy is all about a young Clark Kent, Cavill might be a bit too old to pull off that youthful vibe. But Corenswet's 29 and he fits the role perfectly. Cavill's Superman had a whole different vibe going on, and his version in the DCEU was dark and gritty, with a brooding and tortured Supes straying away from that classic Boy Scout personality fans know from the comics. Snyder took things in a grittier direction, and it was a love-it-or-hate-it situation. But now, with Gunn steering the DC ship, they're trying to get back to the roots and win back the die-hard fans. And there's no better way to complete the comic book vibes than getting the rest of the supporting cast nailed down. Gunn held some epic screen tests for potential Clark Kent and Lois Lane pairings, and went through some serious chemistry experiments. There were three main dynamic duos: Nicholas Hoult with Rachel Brosnahan, Tom Brittney with Phoebe Denver, and David with Emma Mackey. They were all gunning for the iconic roles of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and the Skarsgård brothers Alexander and Bill were in the running for the villainous Lex Luthor. But here's the twist: our man Nicholas is being rumored for Lex Luthor after losing out to Cornswet for the Red Cape. He's got the potential to play both the hero and the villain, and that's quite the range. As for the other characters you can expect in the movie, Gunn hasn't released any deets yet, but rumor has it that it'll give us a glimpse into Clark Kent's early career at the Daily Planet. So, you better believe you're gonna meet some fresh faces, like new versions of Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and Perry White. Oh, and get this. There have even been rumors that Holt, Brittney, and Cornswet even had further screen tests in full costume, alongside Emma Mackey, who they thought was the only contender for Lois Lane at that time. But surprise, surprise, Rachel swooped in and snagged the role of the Daily Planet's top reporter. Brosnahan's been in the acting game for quite some time now, and back in her college days, she made appearances in a bunch of shows that you've probably heard of, like Gossip Girl, The Good Wife, Grey's Anatomy, and more. She was hustling even back then, and it's no surprise seeing her finally bag such a huge role. In 2013, she scored a role in Netflix's mega-hit show, House of Cards, starring alongside the legendary Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright. But the funny thing is, she was initially only supposed to be in 2 episodes, but the showrunners were so blown away by her talent, they decided to expand her role and kept her on as a major character. Fast forward a few years, and Brosnahan hit the jackpot with Amazon's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, a killer comedy drama that follows the story of Miriam Maisel, who dives headfirst into the world of stand-up comedy while dealing with her marriage troubles. And the show's been a massive success, with Rachel's performance earning her a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, and 2 Golden Globes, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and 2 Critics' Choice Television Awards. This girl's been racking up the accolades like nobody's business, and is gonna bring some serious star power to Superman Legacy. James is really onto something here with David and Rachel, and hopefully we'll get a banger movie. So from finally nailing the casting for the perfect Lois Lane, to searching for a compassionate and kind-hearted actor to step up as Clark Kent, that was James Gunn's new Superman revealed.